In this life, I swore never to have anything to do with them again, and tonight was the perfect chance to cut off any ties with them. I stayed home all day and did nothing. By evening, Theodore suddenly gave me a call. When I answered, his usually calm voice carried an unfamiliar tension. "Did you really choose me?" I softly hummed in response. "Do you not want me to?" He fell silent for a moment before he said, "I do. I'm just worried that you're toying with me." That put a smile on my lips. I wasn't worried that he would reject me at all, because in my previous life, he had loved me just as I had loved Joseph. "I'm serious, Theodore. Don't worry. I wouldn't toy with you like that," I said sincerely. Theodore let out a sigh of relief, and he said gently, "All right, I'm almost back. I have a gift for you." I knew he couldn't wait to see me, and I smiled. "Okay, I'll be waiting." Just then, I heard a voice behind me. "Who are you waiting for?" I hung up and turned around to see Joseph standing there, looking at me suspiciously. I calmly replied, "I'm waiting for my fiancé." To my surprise, his face twisted in disgust. "Evelyn Pierce, I will never marry you. If you have any shame left, tell your father to cancel the engagement." My heart sank, but it wasn't just because he misunderstood me. At that moment, I realized that he had been reborn as well. The first thing Joseph did after being reborn was to rush over to stop the engagement. Fortunately, I had already decided to give up on him, so I merely replied calmly, "I'll do as you wish." When I said that, instead of looking pleased, Joseph froze for a moment. He studied my expression with a confused and suspicious look on his face. It was as if he couldn't understand why I was so indifferent. Then, a sudden realization seemed to dawn on him as he sneered. "Since when did you learn to play hard to get? Don't waste your effort. That trick won't work on me." After a pause, he added resolutely, "Besides, after tonight, it won't be possible for us to be together anymore." So he came back from the dead, planning to confess his love publicly? If that was truly the case, I could at least respect him as a man. "That's for the best," I said coolly. My indifference seemed to make his face darken. He said coldly, "Let's go. Everyone's waiting." I didn't want to go, but I knew what kind of man Joseph was. If I refused, he wouldn't relent until I gave in. His precious little sister had always taken pride in trampling all over me, the so-called top socialite of the capital. If I didn't appear, how was she supposed to flaunt her achievements? Besides, it was time I properly said goodbye to my foolish youth. The ride there was silent. When we arrived at the Grand Royal Hotel and pushed open the doors, I saw a crowd of familiar faces. Jessica, dressed as delicately as always, sat in the center of attention, surrounded by admirers. The moment she saw us, her eyes swept over me with disdain before she threw herself into Joseph's arms affectionately. She said excitedly, "Joe, thank you for personally decorating the venue for me. I love it." Jessica used to do the same thing in my past life. She would constantly throw herself at him, flaunting how good he was to her. She'd boast that Joseph massaged her stomach when she had cramps, held her when she was scared of thunder, and carried her when she got tired shopping. Every time I heard it, I felt both envious and uneasy. I'd even questioned their relationship, but when I confronted Joseph, he'd called me filthy. I snapped out of my thoughts when Jessica looked at me provocatively and said, "Evelyn, what's with that look? Don't tell me you're about to slander me and Joe again?" At her words, the others began pointing fingers at me with looks of contempt on their faces. Some people are just filthy themselves, and that's why they see filth everywhere. Exactly. Is she jealous of Mr. Lewis's sister? Does she even have the right to be jealous? I replied evenly. "You all know perfectly well if it's slander or not." Joseph's face darkened, while Jessica's eyes filled with tears as she leaned against him. "Joe, do you see this? She's slandering us again." I looked at him calmly, curious to see what he would do this time. I thought that after living another life, he would have the courage to admit their love and make it public. But instead, he glared at me and snapped, "Enough! Evelyn, must you always be so vicious? Are you really spreading lies about me in jest just because I said I wouldn't marry you? You'd rather destroy me since you can't have me? You're disgusting." "Disgusting?" I mocked. "Joseph, you're nothing but a coward. Also, I only came here to make one thing clear. I have no intention of marrying you."